Hey guys, welcome to Man City Fan TV. This is Kiam here, and we're looking at the Premier League predictions for match day 7. So today I'm joined by Man City Fan TV royalty. It's the main man himself, Martin, our new presenter. Say hello, Martin.
Hello, royalty. I've never been called that before.
You are indeed royalty, mate. You are the new live vlogger, mate. You are Man City Fan TV royalty. I'm not hearing anything different. We are also joined by Premier League prediction royalty, Mr. Ryan Corrie himself.
Hey, yeah, I'm apparently the royalty for that, even though Kiam's top. Don't know how that works.
Yeah, I am top of the league, mate, but I didn't want to mention that. You know, I mean, I'm a modest guy. I don't like to mention it.
It's fine. Although we're both doing better than Martin.
We are, yeah. I mean, we can say that. That's easy to say.
I think I've been stitched up here, but never mind.
Well, we will see. Well, let's move on to this week's games then. So it's match day 7, and we're going to start with the first game, which is on my list, and it's Sheffield United against Liverpool. So I'm going to go over to you, Martin. What's your score prediction?
I don't know, but I'm not going to do an accent like that. Go in. I've actually gone Sheffield United 1, Liverpool 3.
Okay.
I think the Sheffield United bubble has burst.
Okay. And what are your reasons for that, Martin? Why do you think the bubble's burst, mate?
Just simply because I just think that they've had their couple of weeks now, and I think they're about to realise what the Premier League is all about. Especially with they got beaten They got beaten in the League Cup, didn't they, in midweek?
Yes.
So I think I always think a promoted side comes up as a couple of weeks of grace, shall we say. They're living on last year's hype and goodness, and I just think it's going to wear off now. And I think Liverpool will be far too strong for him as well.
Okay, fair enough. What's your score prediction, Ryan? What do you fancy in this one?
I've gone 3-0 Liverpool for this game. Even though I think Liverpool have been weaker defensively than last season, I think Trent Alexander-Arnold defensively is being exposed a lot, but he makes up for that offensively, obviously. I don't see much in Sheffield's attack, really. And I can't see them getting anything here. Liverpool are too strong, even though they don't look as strong as last year, in my opinion.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I've gone for a 3-0 Liverpool victory as well. So I'm with you there, Ryan. I don't think Liverpool will concede a goal. I think it's going to be quite a dominant performance. I think they've just got too much in the locker for Sheffield United. And like you say, Martin, Sheffield United lost in the Carabao Cup in midweek. I think they lost to Sunderland. So if you're losing to Sunderland, I don't think you're going to get much out of Liverpool. So, yeah, so I'm going to go with a 3-0 on that one. So let's move on to the next game, which is Aston Villa versus Burnley. And what's your score prediction for this one, Martin?
I've gone home win, Villa 2, Burnley 0.
Okay. And what's your thinking behind that?
Villa are on a really good run of form at the moment, and Burnley, even though they beat Norwich, something we couldn't do. I just think, I think Villa, especially at home, I think they'll be too strong for Burnley.
Okay, fair enough. And what are your thoughts on this game, Ryan? What do you think the score will be?
I'm going 1-0 Burnley. Villa are at home, and they scored 2 last week against Arsenal, but then again, I don't think Arsenal are good defensively at all. And then last time they were at home, they had the 0-0 draw with West Ham, which was an entertaining game, but none of the chances they really created were anything special for me. I think Burnley, they have both their strikers in decent form. Wood got 2 last week, and Barnes has, I think, 4 or 5 this season so far. So I think they might just nick it 1-0.
Okay, yeah, I mean, this one was a difficult one for me to predict because you'll remember from last week's results, I went for Burnley to beat Norwich. Even though Norwich had just recently beaten us, I knew Burnley were going to turn them over, and that ended up happening. So I was thinking, staying with Burnley, that they seem to come up with the goods when it matters. But I think Villa at home, with the crowd behind them, is going to be a little bit too much. That Holt End is quite it's quite an atmosphere they generate. So I'm going to go 2-1 to Aston Villa in this game. So 2-1 to Aston Villa against Burnley. So let's move on to the third game then, which is not the game of the week, probably the most boring game of the week in my opinion. It's Crystal Palace against Norwich. And what do you think on this one, Martin?
I've gone for a Palace 2-1 win.
Okay, mate, 2-1 win. What are your reasons for that?
Simpler, because Palace are at home, and it looks like Norwich away from home are not great at the moment. I know they got beat by Burnley 2-0, and I think Palace at home. Palace are a funny team. They seem to be a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde team. 1 week they're brilliant, and 1 week they're not. But I just think this will be their week to be good. And I think Norwich, again, away from home, they don't seem to be great travellers at the moment.
And do you agree with that, Ryan? What are your thoughts?
Now that he said it, kind of, but I'm still going to go 2-1 Norwich, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so you've gone the other way round.
I've gone the other way around. 3 goals as well for the most boring game of the week. I think Crystal Palace will nick a goal. They seem to they've been consistently scoring week on week, apart from that when they got battered by Spurs. But I wasn't really aware of Norwich's poor away form, but I think Pukki's still doing well. Pukki will grab a goal, and they have, I think it's Buendel, the player that's got quite a few assists so far this season.
Buendia, I think that was the guy Andy gave the ball to, yeah. What was it, Buendia? Yeah,
I think he got 2 assists against us, and Cantwell seems to be in good form as well. So I think they can just about nick it.
Interesting. So I've got splinters firmly rooted in my backside on this one. So I've gone in the middle. So Martin's gone one way, you've gone the other. I'm right down the middle. I've gone for a 1-1 draw. I think it's going to be a pretty boring game. I think Palace will start the game like a house on fire. The crowd will be up for it. But I think Norwich will claw one back. Like you say, they've got a couple of dangerous players on the break, as we found out when we played them. So I fancy a 1-1 draw there. So let's move on to the next game then, which is Bournemouth against West Ham United. So what do you think about this one, Martin?
Well, if you remember what I said about Pellegrini a couple of weeks ago, I don't think he suits West Ham, which apparently he's took the fall for the Oxford defeat as well. So you won't be surprised. I've gone for a Bournemouth 2-1 home win.
Okay, interesting. So you're going against the grain there, really. West Ham are in form. They beat United, but you fancy a win for Bournemouth.
Yeah, I just think they'll. I know it might be a totally different team that they might put out, but I just think West Ham might have a little bit of a hangover from that battering against Oxford.
Okay, and what are your thoughts on this one, Ryan?
I've gone for a 3-1 Bournemouth victory. Same as Bournemouth the last 2 weeks, they've won 3-1. I think Callum Wilson is just a very good striker and will probably get a goal, if not 2. Harry Wilson looks good, even though he's from Liverpool on loan. They seem to be solid so far this season, Bournemouth. And West Ham, they've got 7 points out of the last 9. But the game they drew was away at Villa. This is away again. And they just seem so on-off, West Ham, even though I do like them. It's just, they're too on-off, and I think Bournemouth have the momentum.
Okay, fair enough. I've done my usual routine here. Splinters in my backside again. You guys have actually picked a result. I've not. I've gone in the middle, and I've gone for a 2-2 draw. I think there'll be goals in the game. I think we're all agreed on that. But I can just see Bournemouth again, starting off strong. West Ham have got a bit of quality. We saw it against United. I think they'll claw them back, and it'll end in a 2-2 draw. So, it's going to be a tight one, I think that. So the next game then is Wolverhampton Wanderers against Watford. How do you see this one going, Martin?
I've gone for a really exciting game in this one. I've gone for a Wolves 3, Watford 2.
Okay, high-scoring game. Interesting.
Yeah.
So you think Watford are going to make a bit of a fight back after the humiliation at the Etihad?
I think they've got to. I think they've simply got to. I know if we got beat 8-0, I'd be expecting some kind of reaction. And I think Wolves, I don't think Wolves are a bad team this year. I just think it's more, I think the Europa League is doing them down more than they become a poor team overnight. And that's why I've gone for even though I've just gone for a narrow home win, because I think Watford will show fighting great this time, because they didn't last week. But I think Wolves will just edge it 3-2.
Okay, interesting. What do you think on this one, Ryan?
I'm going to sit on the fence on this one, and I've gone 2-2. Wolves haven't been in good form so far this season. I think they're 19th in the Premier League, so that tells you all you need to know, really. But then they've got a Europa League game this week. They had 2 weeks ago. They had a Europa League game. They had a League Cup game that they drew with Reading midweek. This was yesterday, that game. And I think Watford are going to be up for it. They're going to be annoyed after we annihilated them last week. But I don't think they have enough to overcome Wolves, who I do think will probably just about get a draw.
Okay, so you're taking my place, sat on the fence there, Ryan. So that's interesting, mate. I've actually picked a result out in this one. I think Wolves will win this game comfortably. I think they're going to win the game 2-0. I think Watford are in a little bit of a mess at the moment. I don't think they quite know which direction they're going in with all the sort of managerial upheaval. And I think Wolves will get a comfortable win. And I also think back to the FA Cup semi-final last year. I think Watford did Wolves at the very last minute of that game, and it was quite a late on sort of turnaround. And I think Wolves will have a bit of revenge in mind. So I fancy Wolves to take all 3 points. And it is a bottom of the table clash, as you say, that they are the bottom two in the Premier League. So it's going to be an interesting one, that. So let's take a look at the next game then, which is Spurs against Southampton. What are your thoughts on this one, Martin?
I've gone for a Spurs 3, Southampton 1. So, and quite simply, I think Spurs are just going to have far too much for Southampton, even though I think there's complete and utter unrest at Spurs at the moment. I think Southampton are a very, very poor team. Very, very poor team. I know they had a fight back against United, but, I think, the local pub down the road could have a fight back against United at the moment. I just think Spurs far, far too strong, especially at home for Southampton. I think they're a very poor team, Southampton, this year.
Okay. And Ryan, what are your thoughts, mate?
I've also gone 3-1 to Spurs.
Interesting.
Yeah. Southampton have scored at least a goal in every game this season apart from game week 1. So I think they will get a goal. I don't think Spurs have been exactly... the defence... I don't think anyone's been great defensively so far this season. I feel like a lot of teams are playing more attacking, expansive football so far this season. It's a lot more entertaining, and there's been a lot more goals scored. But I think they'll get a goal. They've only scored more than one once this season, I believe. And Spurs, what did they do last week? They battered Crystal Palace last week, but then got embarrassed in the cup. No, that was 2 weeks ago. They lost last week and then got embarrassed in the cup. They're going to want to come back from that.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there, Ryan. I think, although there is unrest at Spurs at the moment, like you say, Martin, I think Spurs are going to be hurting. I think the defeat in midweek was a total embarrassment for the club. And obviously the Carabao Cup is a trophy that Spurs should be looking at winning. So I think they're going to come back all guns blazing. And there's nothing better, as you know, when you have a defeat like we had against Norwich, you've got to come back firing. and I think Spurs are going to win this game 4-1. So I've gone for one more goal than you guys. I think they will comfortably be ahead, maybe 2 or 3-0 at half-time. Southampton might pull one back late on in the second half, but I think they'll win comfortably in that game. So let's move on to the next fixture then, which is Chelsea against Brighton. So how do you see this one going, Martin?
I think this is going to be a really tight game. In a way, this is like, some people call it a local derby. I'm going for a Chelsea 2-1 win, just.
Okay, and why do you think just? Why do you think it's going to be a tight game?
Well, as you know, I've always said it. I like the way Brighton play football. I really do. I think I got a little bit of a soft spot for them when we played them at the Etihad a few weeks ago. I was really impressed with the way they played football, and I just think Chelsea, as much as they got a great win the other night, 7-1. In all fairness, it was against Grimsby, but I just think I don't think Chelsea are going to do a lot this season. I think they're going to be comfortably mid-table. Don't think they're going to challenge for Europe at all. But and that's why I just think just a narrow 2-1 win, because I think Chelsea will have that little bit better quality on the day, really.
So it sounds like you're a bit of a fan then of Brighton and how they've been playing. So from what you're saying there, Martin, I think Brighton Fan TV might be coming after you, mate, as the new presenter. That's my prediction.
Not a chance.
Okay, so over to you, Ryan. What do you think in this game, mate?
I've gone 3-0 Chelsea, and I think that was a good prediction there, Kiam, because other than the first week, Brighton won 3-0 at Watford, who we've seen since have been very dysfunctional. They've they drew with West Ham the next week, and then they lost, didn't score. They lost to us, didn't score. They drew with Burnley. Then I think last week, was it? Yeah, last week they drew 0-0 with Newcastle. I didn't actually watch the game, but from what I'd seen, they didn't exactly create anything great. And I feel like Graham Potter was hyped up after that first game where they won 3-0 and hasn't really done anything since. I think Chelsea have the attacking power and they are actually playing nice football. I agree with Martin on them not going to get top 6. I think I predicted them 8th at the start of the season because I don't think Frank's good enough. But against Brighton, they should easily win.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I've gone the same sort of route, to be honest, Ryan. I've gone for a 2-0 Chelsea victory. I think it's just going to be a routine home victory for Chelsea. I think they're going to go through the gears. I think the young players that they've got in place now are starting to, they're starting to produce the goods. So, I just can't see Brighton getting anything. I mean, Brighton did well at the Etihad, yes, they did. But when they get to the final third, they don't really create that much. So I can't see them getting on the score sheet. So I fancy a comfortable 2-0 Chelsea victory in that one. So let's move on to the next game, which is Leicester City versus Newcastle United, Martin.
I think I've been quite generous here to Newcastle, and I've let them have a goal. I've gone Leicester 3, Newcastle 1. I think Leicester are doing really. I mean, they're third in the league. It speaks for itself. I think Newcastle, under Steve Bruce, I can only see one thing and only one way they're going, and that's down. I just think they're playing awful. I know what you said about Brighton, but if Brighton could have finished last week, they'd have won about 6-0. They absolutely battered Newcastle off the pitch. So I can't see anything else other than a comfortable Leicester win.
Okay, interesting. So I think some of the Geordies listening, mate, won't be happy with you there. Dissing the team, but I'm sure they understand. I'm going
to get it off True Geordie.
You probably will, mate. Yeah, you probably will. What do you think of this one then, Ryan? What's your prediction?
True Geordie can come after me as well. I'm going 2-0 Leicester. Newcastle just aren't good enough. They don't have their managers useless. And I think at the start of the season I kept them up by 1 place, and I think I put Norwich down instead because Norwich historically every time they come in the Premier just terrible. They can't defend, they can't really attack. But I think Norwich have shown more so far this season. I think Newcastle probably will go down. Leicester, good. Vardy's an amazing striker, even at 32 now. James Maddison is an amazing player. I think he created the most key passes in the league last year. Indeed, he made the most tackles, and he plays defensive mid for them. Their midfield three is so that can overpower many teams in this league, including the top six. I think Leicester are just a very solid team, and I can easily see them. I think they will get top six at least, if not maybe top four.
Okay, no, interesting. I mean, I've gone with a 2-1 Leicester victory. So I think Newcastle will lose as well. So True Geordie's going to have to come after all of us. If he wants a bit of us, he can come and chase us at Man City Fan TV. He can subscribe as well if he wants to. But yeah, 2-1 to Leicester. And the reason for that is, and I'm going to come up with a new phrase here. It's called World Cup-itis. And I'm going to explain that. Teams like Stoke used to have it. Teams like Everton, no offence, Everton, but these are clubs that when they play against the big teams in the league, they come out like world beaters. And Leicester are a bit like that. Leicester play against the big teams and they leave everything on the pitch. But against the smaller teams, they're quite lazy and they just go through the motions. So I don't think Leicester will hammer Newcastle, but I think they'll just beat them. I think they'll just about beat them.
Carl's not going to be happy with you now, Kiam. You just insulted Everton. You know they're going to go and beat us now. You know they're going to go and beat us now as well.
Yeah, but as Cal will remind you, mate, Everton once beat us 4-0, so he'll never live that one down, really. So yeah, and that was a case of World Cup-itis as well. So it is a
I'm keeping really, really quiet on
that. You can do. Well, we're now going to move up to a game that I'm hearing through the grapevine has been moved from Sky Sports. It's now going to appear on the Comedy Channel, and it's Man United versus Arsenal. What do you think about this one, Martin?
Oh, I actually don't know, because talk about... this one was one of my hardest ones to call. I've gone for an Arsenal 2-1 win, because I think United are they're atrocious. They're absolutely awful at the moment. I don't think Ollie will be in the job long. I mean, I want him to get a 10-year contract. But I just think, I know Arsenal, I've always said it, that a BMW up front and a Robert Ryan at the back. And that's why I've simply gone for a 2-1 win. I just think Arsenal are going to have far, far too much up top. And United haven't got a striker. They haven't got a recognised striker. They're going to have to play Mason Greenwood. And that's going to be a lot of pressure on a young kid's shoulders now, especially at a club like Man United. No Martial. There's no Rashford. He's injured. They've sold Lukaku, sold Sanchez. So I just don't see them scoring more than one goal.
Okay, interesting, mate. Interesting. So what do you think then, Ryan?
I've gone 1-0 United. I think Arsenal aren't good enough away from home, and United seem to just about get a goal at Old Trafford, and I think they'll probably just about get a penalty or something, or a free kick, or it'll probably be Jesse Lingard. He seems to pop up against Arsenal. He got an assist in the League Cup against Rotherham, so I mean that surely means he's going into his month-long purple patch of the year. Yeah, it's the battle for six. It's the battle for sixth. Let's be honest at this point.
It is. They should get a trophy.
Sixth.
For
You
this
think
game.
United will be in sixth? Wow.
Optimistic.
Well, no, I think Arsenal might. Don't know about United. Plus, I mean, I don't. If they want to get rid of Ole, get rid of him from being at the wheel. I don't mind the current rumor, which seems to be Arsene Wenger. I feel like that wouldn't help them at all.
That would take banter levels to a whole new degree. That if Arsene Wenger came in,
he might make them a bit more of a team for a bit. But I mean, he's not. He's just past it.
Yep, that's for sure. So I'm going to give you my result then for Man United versus Arsenal, and I've sat on the fence again, and I've gone for a 1-1 draw. And I honestly think that the lack of ability in both sides is just going to cancel each other out. I think Arsenal are going to be reliant on the new lad Pepe. And from what I've seen so far, he's full of pace, but he couldn't hit a barn door. He misses so many chances. All the Arsenal fans are raving about him, but I think he's just going to miss chance after chance. And I'll probably eat my words now and he'll bag a hat-trick. But I think the same with United as well. They're over-reliant on, I think Martial will be coming back in. They're reliant on him if he comes back into the team. He's the same. He can have a really lazy day when he wants to. So I think they're just going to cancel each other out. And I think there's going to be ranting on both Arsenal fan TV and United fan channels, which will be quite funny to watch. But
they've already started with Emery out on Arsenal fan TV.
Yeah.
Which I think is a bit stupid, but
Yeah, they're not the most patient, are they? They're not quite like us City fans. We take a little bit longer to lose it with managers, but at the moment we are riding high, so we can't really complain about our manager. And talking about City, let's move on then to the last game of the weekend. It's the biggest game in the Premier League. It always is because it involves Manchester City, and we're away at Everton. So what are your thoughts on this one, Martin?
Oh, the big one. The one me and Andy will be at. I have gone for a 4-2 away win. I've gone for us to win 4-2.
Wow, goals there, mate.
Yeah. I think that might be because, like I said, me and Andy are going and I'm hoping it's going to be an entertaining game. It might be a dour 0-0 now. But I just think I've given Everton 2 goals to keep Callum happy because I don't want him to be upset.
That's your excuse if you don't get many points for it.
Yeah, I've given him 2. I've let him have 2 goals, but I just think the form we're in at the minute. I think we're back to we're getting close to our best again. We always seem to, and I just think we're on a roll now for goal, especially scoring goals.
Without sounding arrogant, like an arrogant City fan, because we are the champions, etc. I think, you're being pretty kind there, and I think Callum will be happy with 2 goals. If Everton score 2 goals, I think Callum will be over the moon. The Everton fans will be over the moon. So
make a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty, you're being pretty fair there, to be honest, Martin.
I'm doing it for Callum. Mate. I'm giving the 2 goals for Callum, no other reason.
Okay, and what do you think then, Ryan? What's your prediction in this game, mate?
I'll be nice. I'll give Callum a goal. We'll go with 3-1 City.
We sound so arrogant, guys. It's not right. It's not right, but it's nice, isn't it?
We've got to remind him off.
It beats the other week when I was hearing Pep out and we don't know what we do when we got beat by Norwich.
Pep out, sell the entire defence.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you're going for 3-1 then, Ryan. And what are your thoughts behind that, mate? What do you think is going to happen?
I think we're going to go on a big roll now anyway, but I don't think that's going to affect much. I think Everton will get a goal because I think against better teams they'll sit back a bit more and will try and catch us on the counter, which I think they'll probably do because our defence still isn't going to be solid. But I think Mendy being kind of back and getting minutes, and Angelino's looked solid in the games he's played. I don't know what our centre-back pairing will be in the Premier League. It'll probably be Otamendi and Fernandinho again. But I think we'll get a goal, but I think we're too good for them still, and we'll just overpower them, get 3.
I'm expecting to see Brian Kidd and Mikel Arteta at centre-back this weekend. I think we've tried that many different partnerships. I think that's the only one that's left at the moment. Let's take a look at my scoreline then, which is Everton 1. Hold your breath, guys. Manchester City 2. So I
did almost go 2-0, but
I think that
I always think it's a cagey game against Everton.
Yeah, I think the World Cup itis is going to strike. I think Everton are going to play out of the skin. They're going to try everything they possibly can. All the little tricks. The crowd are going to be up for it. But I think we'll just have enough to get over the line and we'll beat them 2-1. So I'm not going as comfortable, as confident as you lads. But I think City will get the victory. So my final question then, before we wrap this one up, if you were not watching the City game, which game would you pick out as game of the week this weekend? And I'll go to you, Martin.
I'm going to go, believe it or not, for the Wolves-Watford game.
Okay, so you think that's just going to be goals galore? Like you say, you went for 3-2 in that one.
Yeah, I just think Watford are gonna have to come back. They're gonna have to show something after getting beat 8-0. And I still think Wolves. I still think they're a good team. I just think this Europa League's killing them, and I think the sooner they get out of that, the better.
Okay.
I think it'll be the battle of the W's this weekend.
All right, and what do you think there, Ryan? What's your game of the week, mate? If you weren't watching City, which one would you want to watch?
I don't know why we would be watching City. It's the 5:30 kickoff. There's nothing to fight against.
Yeah, we'll be out on our own.
I'll watch the Sheffield United Liverpool game. I'll probably my game of the weekend will probably be a 3:00 kickoff. It'll be the Bournemouth West Ham one because I enjoy the way not Watford, but I would enjoy the way Bournemouth play, and I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think West Ham have looked good on the counter-attack. Yarmolenko's looking good after his injury, because I thought he looked quite good for them last season. I think he got a goal or two, and then the next game week he got injured, and he was out for pretty much the entire year. And he's finally looking to he seems to be getting back to full fitness and starting to play well again. And then I'll watch this Everton City game, and I'll watch both the games on the Sunday as well.
Superb, nice one. So I'm just going to make a little mention of the Discord server. So the Man City Fan TV Discord server. You can go in there, guys, and put your Premier League predictions in. There's a channel, and Ryan looks after that area of the Discord server. So, feel free to reach out to either myself, Ryan, or Martin. And do you want to go ahead and give your Twitter handle, Ryan?
We've got 10 sets of predictions in there so far for this game week. My Twitter is at RyjamsCastle216.
Wonderful. And what's your Twitter handle, please, Martin?
Mine is, it's at Horsey Sitter, but it's under Martin Man City Fan TV at Horsey Sitter.
Okay, superb. So what you can do then, if anybody wants to sign up, I'm going to put a link in the description down below in this video to sign up for Discord. You can accept the invite, go into the channel, and then you can join in the prediction league. Just leave your predictions in there, and just leave your comments on this video. Let us know what you think the scores will be this weekend, guys. And I just want to say a huge thank you to Martin and Ryan for joining us. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
No problem, mate. Anytime.
Martin, enjoy the trip. I know you're going down to Everton, mate, with Andy. So everyone look out for those fan cams that will be coming on the channel. And I wish everyone their very best. So take care, guys. All the best. Bye-bye.